Welcome to That's Bell Boxing, joined by regular Sean down in Brighton. Good afternoon, Sean.
Good afternoon, mate. How are you?
Yep, all good. Thank you for agreeing to join on this hot topic of boxing. I knew you'd join for such an important topic and such an important boxing personality. So here we go. So Jake Paul's come out overnight and mentioned that he's going to fight Chavez Jr. to join his next fight. Now, interestingly, I believe it's talking about it going on July the 12th, aren't they? Which is the date mooted for Daniel Dubois and Usyk. So that's quite interesting. But is this a step up, Sean, from Mike Tyson? I can't believe I'm asking it. But what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, it's great to see that the future of boxing is going to be back. The pound for pound star as he's going to be. So I'm thrilled to see Jake Paul back. I have to say, number one fan for me. I think this fight is a step up in answer to your question. Yes, I mean Chavez hasn't really long been retired. I mean he's had a couple of fights here and there, hasn't he? I know he's a lot smaller as in weight. Well, what he fought at. But on paper, yes, it's a step up, and it's probably the first genuine boxer that can actually beat Jake Paul he's in the ring with, I would suggest.
Nah, I've not looked into this deeply, so if I'm wrong, please apologise. Don't bother posting below and all that lot. But I believe there's 10 years between them, Sean. So rather than however many years it was for Mike Tyson, so he is getting he's getting more towards the younger boxers, let's say. But like you said, he's not long been retired, Chavez Jr., and he comes from good boxing stock, don't he? So I just hope he don't play the game and signs contracts allegedly regarding what he can and can't do. But from a promotional perspective, Jake Paul's doing really well. And all joking aside, I do wish he'd hang the gloves up. I'm not sure what he's thinking of achieving. What do you think the end goal is for Jake Paul? If we're sat here in 10 years' time, Sean, what do you think he would have achieved?
I think he'll be remembered for more his promotion, like you said, especially what he's doing for the female fighters. But in terms of actual in-ring fighter, probably just because of his name and what he carries, he'll be remembered as someone that for boxers, not necessarily good level, but that for boxers. In terms of an achievement of what he can achieve, I do think somehow they will conspire to give him a proper world title fight down the line. I don't know who against, but I think the WBC probably will bring out some kind of belt, and that will be labelled as a world title fight, and he'll probably have claim to being a world champion by the time he retires, unfortunately.
Interesting. Because obviously Turkey had a shake got on record saying he don't like these sort of fights. He hasn't named him, but we all know who he's talking about. So it'd be interesting how he does manoeuvre himself into a world title shot. He's hell bent on getting one, isn't he? Let's be honest.
Yeah. The guy who I can see it being against, and I really think this potentially would happen, is Badu Jack.
Yeah, I agree. Because he's only getting older. Yeah, that's a very, very good shot. But there'll be outrage, won't there, if you sanctioned a world title fight, because you made them rip all the rankings up then.
Yeah, well, and especially the belt that Badu Jack holds, they're not exactly sticklers for their rules, are they? So good old Maurizio, when he sees a dollar note, I think he'll jump all over this. Yeah.
Well, there is fractions between the WBC and Turkey Al Sheikh, isn't it? They've had a few cross words, haven't they? So that makes you wonder what direction the travel is there.
Yeah, definitely. But isn't that whole WBC tournament in Saudi as well? So they're obviously still got a decent working relationship.
Yeah. So let's have a prediction then, Sean. So how's your prediction going here?
Yeah, unfortunately, as much as I used to love watching Julio, I think he'll lose, unfortunately. I don't think he'll get stopped or anything, but I think Jake Paul will probably just win on points.
Well, he never lived up to his old man, did he?
No.
So, yeah, he struggled with that surname, didn't he? I can think of other fighters who might struggle with surnames, but that's for another show. Yeah, I think Jake Paul will stop him about round 6, something like that. But it'll be interesting to see who next opponents are, because I would suggest that even and I'm not one of these, but even Jake Paul followers are getting sick of him jumping in with certain standard of opponents now. You only get away with that if you're going to call yourself a full-time professional boxer. You only get away with that for so long, right, Sean, before people start asking questions.
Yeah, and I think his audience have probably grown up a bit now. I mean, I didn't really know who he was in his younger days when he was a YouTuber, but I imagine his audience are probably sort of late teens, early 20s now, so they take a lot more advantage and notice into it. So I imagine that's the case, yes.
And I know with the best starting to fight the best now in let's call it mainstream boxing, there's no need for this type of boxing, really, is there? You know, so he's going to have to up his game regarding his opponents, or I'd suggest he might start becoming a little bit insignificant, and dare I say his numbers might drop a little bit, hopefully, allegedly.
Yeah, even going back to Misfits, I think that's sort of losing its appeal to what it initially did as well. So I think that could well be starting to get phased out too.
It's got a shelf life, right? Someone comes up with a good idea, you know, they launch it, but I believe it's got a genuine shelf life, unlike mainstream boxing. Let's be honest, Sean, I'm a massive football fan, but there's nothing like a minute before they're going to ring that bell for the first round of a massive fight that you just can't call.
Definitely.
There's nothing like it. So if these people who are watching this other type of boxing, and, you know, each to their own, if they are fight fans, I suggest you come over to the mainstream and start watching some of these fights where, you know, especially the 50-50, Sean, you know, it's something else, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that was the whole point of them doing it in a way, wasn't it? But I don't see how they'll decipher the sort of information if people generally have or not. I don't get the impression that they have, really, the younger audience anyway that will watch a Misfit card. I don't get the impression they watched Better Behave Bivol a couple of weeks ago, for example.
No, and I've gone on record on this show. I have been to a couple of Misfits boxing because obviously my daughter was of a certain age and I took her along. And I've gone on record as saying mainstream boxing can learn a lot from the lead up to events, the production, the marketing on social media, etc., etc. But it's just not a product for me when the fight starts. It just isn't, you know. So there is lessons to be learned, but I don't think the product's got longevity, Sean, if I'm honest.
No, I mean, I've seen a couple of them, and it looks like the sort of attendances are dropping as well. So I think people are getting bored of it now, and I think people aren't silly; they can see through when things are fake as well. And I think it's got its WWE element to that, and I think people are sort of turning off it that way as well.
And it don't help. I mean, I'm going to say it doesn't help when you've got certain promoters giving it credibility by promoting it as well, right? I won't name them, but we all know who they are.
Yeah.
So, okay, there might be a bit of a longer session to do on Misfits and crossover boxing at some stage. I do think the landscape's moving a little bit. So maybe that's something we'll pick up in the future. But like, comment, subscribe below if you agree or disagree with me and Sean. This has been Last Ball Boxing, proudly sponsored by SC Travel and LW Lifting Limited, and we'll see you on the next video. Thank you very much. Cheers, Sean.
Thanks, mate.